I got my hands on the new R4s.
Oh my God! Okay, it's happening. Everybody stay calm.
What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure?
Stay calm!
Now the reason I'm so excited to get my hands on the R4s is because it's no secret I've been using the R3s for the last probably 4 years. I'm on my same original set that I first got, and I think I've changed the batteries once. And before the R3s, I had the real bog standard ones off the shelf in a tackle shop, put a battery in, they got a volume knob that turns them on and changes the volume, and they beep. And I think those were called the S5s. I had them for several years. I think they're probably still on the original batteries somewhere in a box back at home as backups, but now they're going to be the backups of my backups because I have a set of the R4s. So the R3, I'll get onto that. Actually, I'll touch upon it now. If you have a look at the size difference to start with, it's probably going to be one of the things you'll notice, is here's the R3 and here's the R4. So R's slightly bigger. I'll take the covers off. Of course, the design is still very, very similar. It's just a bit more chunky from depth. I think the height, there's not a lot in it with the height. It's slightly bigger and taller, and of course the width as well, ever so slightly wider. It's just a bit more beefed up from the R3s. Build quality, as to be expected, is just as good as the R3s. Like I said, this is my personal set of R3s that I've had for probably about 4 years. I think I've changed the batteries on them once. They've been through several different countries, all different weather systems, years and years of abuse, and they're still going strong. And just to prove it, I'll turn it on for you. So I'm not bluffing. They still do work, and they will become my backups, probably on a set of 2 rods, because obviously I'll keep these as my 3. And on the topic of build quality, they are so confident in these alarms that they come with a 2-year guarantee as standard. But what is new about these? Because if these have done me so well for so long, why do I need to change up to an R4? Or what differences is there going to be within these that the R3 didn't offer? Firstly, and probably the most notable from an audio point, is that there's now dropback differentiation from forward take and a dropback. If I just give you an example on this one, still a very recognisable sound going forwards, and now we have that different tone going back of different sort of descending tones, and that has already come in really handy. I used these since I got here yesterday, and last night I had a few touches on the rods. And beforehand, when I had these, of course I knew something had happened, but I wouldn't necessarily know which direction the line had gone. And a couple of times the right hand rod had a single drop back tone, so I knew that that had dropped back slightly, and another one had a single beat forwards on the left rod. So then already I've gone up from the R3s to the R4s. I know that what each rod has done in regards to which way the line is going. So that's probably the main difference from an audio point of view. But if we spin around to the back, there's also a little added extra of a sort of it's a safety feature, and something that's perfect for those of you that use boats a lot, or just if you've waded out with your rod and you want to cast a bit further and then you want to come back to your swim in the middle of the night. They've got a return to home function. Now what that is a little LED on the back of the alarm heads, which is turned on by a button on the receiver. I'll get onto the receiver in a minute, but there's a little light bulb button right in the bottom middle of the receiver. Press and hold that, or press that, and it illuminates the LEDs on the back of the alarm. You can choose which alarm you want to illuminate. So say you've got 3 rods down a bank on separate bank sticks, and you're doing one of them, say your middle rod, you can illuminate the middle one so you know you go right back directly to where that is. So it's a nice safety feature when you're either going out in a boat catching a fish and coming back with a fish, or just going out baiting up and things at night. It makes it a lot easier to find where your swim is. So that's probably the 2 main changes to this that a lot of people are going to notice, but there are of course other things that have been included into it as well, but we'll just go through them as we turn it all on. So to start with, on-off button on the left, met with increasing tones. It's now turned on. Nice and simple. Press and hold again to turn it off, and if I press the on button, sorry, it cycles through. That's just a LED, no sound. Then it's sound but no LED, and then it's completely off, so the alarm can be doing absolutely nothing, and then you just have it going back to your receiver, say, and go back to normal. So if I just do for this as an example on this one, normal, press it again. As you can see, it's just the LEDs. Press it again. It's just sound, no LEDs. Press it again, and it's completely, alarm head is off. So if say you've got it just on your receiver, that's still sending it back, but there's nothing going on down this end. But I'll put it back to normal. Moving on to the other side of the alarm, we have the volume button. Well, that's its main function to start with. Pressing that, and you cycle through the different volume settings. So it goes from really quiet all the way up to volume, I think it's 8 different modes, I believe. And it is very, very loud on 8, believe me. So when I was having to play around with these at home, trying the different volumes, it was pretty deafening next to me. So if you want to have a nice loud alarm head, you can do so. But of course, because there's only 2 buttons on here, there's other functions you want to go through. But whereas on other alarms, you may have a volume, sensitivity, and a tone knob, that's all within these 2 buttons. So if I press and hold the on button and then tap the volume button, as you can hear, that changes the tone. So nice and easy to cycle through that. But if I press and hold the volume button and single press the volume, as you can see, that changes the LED color. And you've got 2 different brightness modes. So I set it back to purple. So whereas before you had to choose what color alarm head you have, I got a set of 3 blue ones. You couldn't change the alarm head color, whereas these have now got them built in. So you can cycle through different LED colors and also different brightness levels, which is very, very handy. And then that is replicated directly to your receiver as well. So that's nice and handy. Now, there's also a couple of other things on there. You've got press and hold the tone button, and that is your different sensitivity settings. So press and hold. That's now on number 2, 3, 4, and you notice the tone was different there. 5, and back to the first one. Now that change in tone difference is actually another little thing built into this as I'm going through all the different changes from the R3. There's something called wave detection, or it doesn't pick up the waves and things like that. Look, try and explain it. Sensitivity, as you can see, very, very sensitive. But if you wanted to turn the sensitivity down, obviously as normal, you can do that. But some of the modes on the sensitivity actually gives you a bit of, I'll show you as an example. It's hard to explain, so if I go through it. So now, say I'm fishing on a really windy session or on a canal, boats going past and the bobbins rise and bobbins drop every time a boat goes past. I've actually got 𝘃𝗶𝗶𝗲 about 40 minutes away looking at Met Office, so I'm trying to wrap this up quickly. But as you can see now, there's no indication coming through on the alarm. So say I'm constantly getting knocks like this from nuisance fish or waves lapping at the end of the rod tips, I'm not going to be constantly getting indication from that. However, once you get a certain amount of distance pulled through the alarm, let's just pop out the clip. There, it's now into full sensitivity mode. So you get all of that up and down, just stop that a second, all that up and down movement from waves, weed pushing through your line and bringing up your alarms. It doesn't do anything until a fish takes some line. So that's really handy. There's 2 different settings on here, I believe. So one of them is that amount of distance pulling through, and the other one is slightly more. So if you're getting loads of movement in your bobbins, then you can change it to be a bit more or less sensitive for that initial thing. So it's not a case of turning sensitivity right down just so that you don't really get much indication. Oh, even if you're getting a screaming, it's just beeping occasionally. Once it goes past that certain point, back to full sensitivity mode, as you've seen. And it's reset itself now. So as you see, there we go, it's moved enough that it's now back into it. But I'll put it back onto normal sensitivity. There we go, so that's back onto normal now, just in case I do get a bite while I'm filming this. But there is more. If I press and hold both buttons for 3 seconds, hear that 2 tones down, I've now turned off night glow. Now I'll get onto night glow bobbins in a second, but that means that when the alarm head flashes, it's not sending any light signals down through the bobbins or out the bottom here. Press and hold once again for 3 seconds. It's now ascended in tone, and that's night glow now on. So just to give you an example on this one, as you can see, the bobbin turns on when it's got night glow function on. If I press and hold them both, that's now off, and the bobbin doesn't illuminate. I should probably turn that down. It's going to get annoying, isn't it, when I keep on talking about it? But I turn it back on, and you're sorted. So we now move on to the bobbins. As you can see, they're actually connected straight into the bottom of the alarm heads themselves. Simple twist function, just pop that out. As you can see, they're not going to come out easily. So these are one of the new night glow bobbins, which goes straight into the bottom. So you've got that, this is the purple one, there's different colours and different sizes. You've also got additional weights on the bottom of them that you can add and subtract weight. But you've also got these swinger arms as well. These can be put under preload tension. They've got a spring in the base of them, or this bit, and that fits on as your standard would. You'd screw this into the alarm head or below the alarm head, and then you can still attach this little piece into the bayonet fitting for the night glow function. So these still illuminate as well. You can slide this weight up and down, so obviously you can have it nice and light or as heavy as you like. So it's nice and adjustable and still works with the night glow function. However, if you didn't want to use these bobbins, you can always just put that bung in and use hangers as you normally would underneath the alarm. Or there's another option, which is a little adapter that Nash supply with the alarms. So I can use these on my old, they've got my old slap heads here, and I've just put the adapter on, and that then just goes in here like the other hangers do, nice and neat. This one doesn't illuminate, of course, because it's just using that bung, but you can use any other alarms that has this screw thread, or just put your hangers underneath the alarms as you wish. But I'll just take that one back out, put this one back in. Simple as that, it's now back attached. Now moving over to the receiver, because I think that's pretty much all the things covered on the Siren. I'm sure there's other things, but Nash have just put out a full informational video on all the settings of this, how to get the best out of them on their channel. So do go over and watch that if I'm not being thorough enough of how to use all these. But the receiver is nice and simple as well. So press and hold to turn it on, and likewise to turn it off. But I have got these already synced up with my alarms, but what I'm gonna do now is do them again anyway, show you how simple it is. Press and hold the volume and the on and off button. That's now erased all previous acknowledgement of my alarms. I've just got to sync them back up. There we are, one done, next, done, next, done. Press and hold again. There we are, all synced. I can sync several more alarms on there, and the end one, I think it's something ridiculous like 30 or 40 odd alarms onto that end piece there. 𝘁𝗵𝗶𝗀 is just arriving, so I'll try and quickly wrap through these, but as you can see, now all synced up. So volume on, off. Along from there is the V button. That changes whether you want it on LED and alarm and noise, LED, vibrate, just LED. All of those things are on the V button. Then we move along to A. Now this is anti-theft mode, so if I press and hold that, that turns it on. So if one of these alarm heads will be turned off and it wasn't me, it will come straight through to my receiver and let me know that something's going on. I turn that back off, and we've then got volume on the side. So pretty self-explanatory, just rattle through those for the different volume modes. And on the bottom, here's the button I was on about with the return to home function. Press that, as you can see, it's lit up this one. So this one just behind is flashing an LED, just pulsing like that. So it makes it nice and easy for me to find my swim in the dark. Press and hold again, and it's now back off. And as I said, you can choose which alarm head you want that to be on the receiver. Now also, range on this. Just like with the R3s, I've never had any fishing situation where my receiver hasn't gone off. Even if I've gone down a few swims, gone through wooded area, I've never ever had any issues with the receiver. And I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same with this, because this has a range of something like 750 yards. Of course, not condoned to ever go that far away from your rods, but say if you're putting a rod out by boat and you still want to use the return to home function, you can press that. But yeah, incredible range. And if it's anything like the R3, if anything it's better than the R3 receiver, then you're not going to have any issues with not picking up anything on this end. Another thing to pick up on, the batteries. I'm trying not to forget anything. They've got rid of those annoying stubby little CR2s, which are one, hard to get hold of. You can't just go to your local petrol station if it runs out on a session and pick one up. They're normally quite bespoke for big supermarkets or finding one on Amazon, something like that. They now take AAAs, which is so handy. So you can just have them cheaply in your bag nice and easily, unscrew the back plate and put the AAAs in. The receiver is now USB-C fully rechargeable, so it doesn't need to even be taken apart. You just put your USB-C port in there. Everyone takes a power pack now with them, and most things are charged USB-C, so that is dead handy. Well, I think that's the R4s in a nutshell. I'm starting to get wet, as you can see. The weather forecast was for 𝘁𝗵𝗶𝗀 to hit about 12 o'clock when I looked yesterday, but when I looked this morning, it was meant to hit me at 9 o'clock. And as it's 5:02, I'd say I'm about to get a bit of a drenching. But for more information, please do head over to the Nash Tackle website. They've also just done a full instructional video on how to sync everything, how to do all the buttons. I'm pretty sure I've shown you the basics, the things that most of you are going to want to know, but they have done a very in-depth video on that themselves. So do go over and check that out if I haven't covered it in enough detail for you. I hope you like this video. Please subscribe to us if you haven't already, and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok for daily updates. But yeah, I'm gonna get my coat on, and unfortunately pack down in the miserable rain, but hopefully not get blown away by Storm Barra. See you again soon. Oh, my leg's gone dead. Oh.